Good afternoon. My name is Scott, the Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap. So it's definitely a tricky day, not easy whatsoever. I think in the first 5 minutes I was at the highs of my day because, things kind of made sense. What made sense? Well, tech went out pretty weak on Friday, so being short Facebook, or if some of you guys were short a bunch of tech names, you got some downside follow through. And then it just felt like they were going to try and bounce, and in the first, minute or two of the day, Friday's low got reclaimed in the S&P. Apple was strong. Just felt like it would be strong. Today, I don't know, it just was down 30 cents when everything else was getting beat up. So I figured if they wanted to rally the market, they might rally that. And then the banks had a little bit, and then lo and behold, I guess closer to midday, tech just was really weak. The bounce in Facebook and Amazon and Google kind of rolled over, and then right when the Fed said, hey, we're going to probably lower rates sooner than later, Apple, had some news about it being under scrutiny also, perhaps by the antitrust, and then, it just is what it is. I was out most of the afternoon, so I didn't get a chance to buy any of those reactionary lows in tech, but that's not the time I like to buy it. I don't like to buy lows in tech at like 130. I like to buy lows in tech in the first 30 minutes or the first hour, and then let them put the low and let them put a higher low in, and then let them rally back and get green and do something special, not, roll back over and then you have to pick the time for them to make the new low and et cetera. And so anyway, let's just get to, some of the charts. Here is the S&P. This is 2750 towards the end of the day. It tried to reclaim, it didn't. This is 2728. That was the low, so it went 10 handles below the low of the morning. I got stopped out of my spiders. I tried to play some spiders while I was out. Didn't work. This 2722 is basically the pivot I was looking at. Didn't quite get there, so I had orders in lower and just didn't get there, so I didn't get filled in my swing account. But anyway, here we are, below the 200-day, below the 2766, which was important then, and now we'll see what happens here tomorrow. This little last 5-minute, 20-minute, what's it called, rally is definitely, kind of annoying. You don't see it there. Anyway, let's just get through it. It is what it is. The Qs were weaker all day, came all the way down to this pivot. So basically, the Qs went to where the S&P would have went to if it went to 2722. So this new low here is your new point of reference, 169.27. It did come a little bit off that, not much. For my style, okay, I like when things close off lows. There are some guys, Freddie, that like to short a bounce in the last 20 minutes because if you get continuation, the next day, they're getting a better price. For me, I don't like to be short overnight as much, as you could see. I did go short overnight 2 nights in the last 5 and it worked. But, for this, all it does mean is that there's more room between wherever we close to the low, so there's less of an edge to trade against. If we closed on the dead lows, then you open lower at new lows, then the next day you could buy versus a reactionary low. And then if you reclaim, today's low tomorrow, then, it gives a little push and it becomes a good trade. If you, close, 10 handles off the low, so like just say the spiders, then there's just, more room that, to go down. So now this low here is what? 273.09, didn't quite get to there. So now tomorrow, like just say if it opened down 80 cents, okay, you have to say, okay, spiders had a doji close, it's down 80 cents, does it hold, 23.09, okay? But if you want to take it home, it just came, in a weak market, it just came, $2 off lows or whatever it did. So if it opened up tomorrow, say, big move off yesterday's low, guess we'll see if there's any power. Can it get above and stay above 276.55? Okay, that's today's high. So that would be tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't, open up above that because that would make the trade a little, just a little harder. And then here is resistance. That's the 200-day. So right now, bit of a doji, meaning, okay, the S&P was definitely a little stronger than the, tech, but this doesn't mean much. We'll see what happens. Does it open above today's low tomorrow, or does it open up in the range? Is tomorrow going to be an inside day? So we'll have to see all these things. The IWM was stronger today, did not make a new low. Okay, this is 144, which is right here. So now I guess, for now you can move this up and say, okay, if we rally back, maybe there's room towards This 8-day moving average, is 148.88. So 149ish is fine. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna move it around. But and then if we open down tomorrow, hey, small caps showed a tiny bit of relative strength yesterday. See if it holds above 145.23, and that continues. But in a broken market, there's not a lot of memory. Like today, the news came out on AMD, and right away I'm like, AMD's been acting well. The semis are kind of strong. I'm going to buy it. I started buying AMD and made new highs in the day. Sold some, pulled in, bought some, sold some, and then all of a sudden I bought a little bit back. I don't know, like 10, 15. I'm like, hey, AMD didn't have a good, S&P pushed. AMD, was for sale there. So then all of a sudden 11:30 it was a little bit lower. And then I'm like, okay, let me just put a stop in because I have to leave for a bunch of hours, and obviously I got stopped out. I didn't think it would go red, but I don't think anyone did. But if you kept buying it, to the downside, you could have lost a lot of money after initially making money to the upside. Okay, that's what makes it, tough. You had a gap up here. If you go like this, this is how I play. I bought it early on, then it had a gap. I added to it. Sold some here, I had a higher low, bought some, traded well, sold some, and then I bought some right here, and then I was like, that happened. I lost a little bit of money. Then I'm like, okay, I have to leave. I'm like, if this thing's going to be strong, it should not break this spot and definitely not that spot. So I think I put my stop in. Actually, it was right around here. I put my stop in somewhere over here because the trade changed from being strong and holding this big gap to maybe go in that direction to not. So thank goodness I left. But some guys said, hey, it was so strong in the morning. I'm going to buy it here. I'm going to buy it here. I'm going to buy it here. They could have got their butt kicked, because the trade changed when, it broke this. It should never broke here. And actually, if it was really going to be strong, it shouldn't have broke there. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt. And then some people are like, oh, right, look at the head and shoulders top. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Breaks this. It's done. So anyway, I got out of it. But just shows how, memory could leave. It did the same thing for Apple. But Apple had news. Apple was strong. Okay. Into this area, and then thank goodness you knew 175 or 174.99 was Friday's low. So if you were long it, you could have got out. And some guys, hey, you might have made some great money short, right? Because you knew there was a gap to fill. Tech was weak. That headline smashed Amazon. It smashed Google. If you were at your desk, I wasn't at my desk. Maybe you got out of your long. Maybe you pressed short. Maybe you were waiting for that. And if you were, you did pretty well. Now you'll see what happens tomorrow. It's a little tricky because you filled this gap, came into support, didn't close on lows. It's still weak. We weren't buying higher. Remember I tweeted you, I'm like, it's already at my goal. Like I wanted it to get to 177, 178, and it went as high as 178 where it saw resistance. So now this doesn't mean anything anymore. The gap is kind of gone, right? So it already filled it. That hole is out. Where I want to get on it. Where is it? Anyway, so now whatever this low is now your new point of reference, which is way above 170.27. So 170.27 is your new point of reference to see if it could, hold or not. But the trade tomorrow is kind of difficult. Why is it difficult? Because, it could be down $1 tomorrow, and you still have to give it a few more dollars to get to test the low. Okay, whereas if it's up a little bit, not much to do, and it hasn't broken above, a descending little trend line in a while, so, it'd be hard to buy it tomorrow, here, which I'm not saying it's going to be there, I'm just saying. So if it would have closed on the dead lows, maybe it's easier to figure out, and then you have less, risk, and you have more defined risk. Let's see if I can find this one more time. Oh, there we go. No, so this is gone now. Bye-bye. Now the chart changes. This is gone. This is gone. So now this is all is that, this is 169.50, and now this held 170.27. So we'll see. If you had some orders out, in Facebook in the 160s, you probably got filled, or if you had Amazon in the 1670s, I put, bigger support on all those charts. And again, I like when there's an air pocket that happens between 9:30 and 10, or 10 and 10:30, not, midday. So anyway, Facebook broke this 174, which was a level that hopefully you didn't buy. At this point, I was covering most of it and left a lot of money on the table. This was your 200 day, this was bigger support. So now we'll see what happens tomorrow. Big move off that level. So now, I don't think it's a long or a short. It could do whatever it wants. It could be up $2 or it could be down $2. And then if it's down $2, you still have to give it room to retest here. If it's up $2, you have to give it room to maybe hit a short or maybe a little, lower, halfway in. Like it probably, if it's going to be any good now, it probably should never get back above, it's going to be a short. That's what I mean, depending on what side you mean good or not. Probably shouldn't get back above this, in a while, because that's where, half of this bar to keep this in control. So at this point, it's nothing. This was your short. Here you got your follow through. I apologize for covering a little bit pre-market. I didn't know this was going to happen, but it is what it is. Better than being long unless you, caught that little move. Amazon, 1670 area, where to go to? 1672. Pretty nice. It's good. That's why you forecast areas. So if it gets there, you could, maybe make a trade or at least cover some shorts or whatever. So anyway, here is when it broke below the 8-day moving average, or this was the 21-day. It broke the 8-day here. No, actually the 8 and the 21 is right here. So anyway, we've been out of this for a while. I haven't been long Amazon in a while, and I wanted to short it here, but it opened below it, and then it was a little tricky on Friday, but shorts got paid today, especially when it broke 1745, because that was the spot. And now, the question is, does it hold 1672? So this is no longer an area, because we do know 1672 is today's low to base your trade around tomorrow. So what happens tomorrow? Hey, futures are down. How do we handle 1672? Does it hold above it and try and bounce where it's at least calculated? If it opened up, then maybe some people might want to fade it because it was so weak today, but there's a lot of room here. If it opened below it, does it reclaim 1672? So that's how the pivot's going to work tomorrow. Google, we said what's it going to do? Is it going to open down 30 and be down 60, or open down 30 and be down 10? Well, it opened down 30, didn't hold this 1066, and now it's got another hole. So we'll have to change this for tomorrow. Another hole. Remember this hole that didn't get filled? Well, that gave you some clues to stay out of the way. I don't think we held this stock once during this time period. And then even this is hard too. You have a move like this. Looked like maybe it could have some commitment to it, and then gap down this day, and that was probably when people got hurt. And then since then, I don't think most people have touched it. Maybe even some people got short on this day. Anyway, here's your new point of reference. This is 1027. This stock is like the epitome of why we use the 8 and 21-day moving average, why we switch gears when things change, because last year this made me a lot of money actually, long. Why? Here was tight, had a nice pennant, traded above it, gave you some follow through, held the 21-day, went again, held in the 8-day, went again with a bull flag. It all changed on this big gap down that never got filled, plus obviously the market got weaker. So now here's another gap, and we'll have to see what happens here in the next few sessions. There could be a little knick-knack trades, but here is, here's a gap. And does it fill this and maybe show that people were anticipating this or not? So for now, this is the high here, whatever this high is, 1067. So the longer it stays below 1067, the more bearish it becomes. And who knows, maybe there's a trade into that gap at some particular point for cash flow, but at this point we don't know. All you know is that this is today's low. It was well broken before this news, thank goodness, so no one was probably caught. And we'll see what happens here in the next few days. Does it hold below and continue down, which would be probably bearish for tech in the market, or does it fill the gap to give us a cash flow trade? We'll see. What time is it? Oh, I got to hustle it up. Okay, the banks tried to be a little stronger. This held this support area. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. I think just money some hid there today. JP Morgan tried to be a little stronger. Held this 104.25. Still broken, still below the moving averages, but the only time to buy it is when it's down, and that's what we've been figuring out. Tesla traded below this 184.10, made a new low. I'll update that tomorrow. If you go home shorted, just got to be careful. It's getting freaking, a little stretched to the downside, but obviously it's not a long. My options will be worthless. Coop has earnings after the close. I wonder what it did so far. Hard to tell. I don't know if it's trading right now post earnings, but anyway, it did go down as low as 100, which was pretty much just a support area. We'll see where it is tomorrow. Remember, now I told you, hey, gets below this 257, perhaps shorted or get the hell out of the way. Well, hopefully you either got out of the way or maybe shorted it because this gap got filled in and a lot of guys make money short. Well, That was your 257 to be prepared with. Netflix also. Remember we talked about 341 to 342. Well, it broke. It happened fast. If you wanted to press a break of this channel support, you made money. It also broke the 200-day. Looks still a little tiny bit better than other things, but not enough to get excited about. Whatever this low is, we'll get into this tomorrow, 332. Came a little bit off it, and we'll see how the trade sets up tomorrow. At this point, tomorrow is a little harder because we came off lows. So tonight I'm flattish. I did make money today. I got stopped out of the, at the low of the day, and then the last 20 minutes now could make tomorrow tricky. If we open up 15 handles, it's going to make it hard to play a bounce because they're taking a lot of it away from you. If they open it down 10, 15 handles, then we could figure out how he handles today's lows tomorrow, or if we open up flattish, then we'll see which way they push it around back and forth, and maybe we have an inside day. At this point, all you know is we're in a broken market. We're very oversold. The S&P tried to be a little stronger today. Tech was definitely a little weaker today. You saw a little fear and acceleration that might mean we're a little closer to a bounce versus not. We were orderly to the downside, and then finally some fear came in, which is actually a better thing because it makes the trade better. With all that being said, I'll see you in the morning. Have a good night. I gotta go.